Hi, my name is Susan. I'm going to be talking a little bit about connotation and denotation and how your word choice can affect your writing in an English for academic purposes essay. When you're writing in a language that is not your own, sometimes choosing the right word can be a little bit intimidating. So I hope that we can show you some tools to help you feel a little bit more confident about the words that you're choosing to make sure that your purpose is received by your audience in the same way that you intended it to be. Connotation and denotation are two principal methods of describing the meaning of words. Connotation refers to the wide array of positive and negative associations that most words naturally carry with them. It's the emotional weight of a word, the emotional and imaginative association of feelings that surround a word. Denotation, on the other hand, is the strict dictionary meaning of the word. If you looked a word up at dictionary.com or in a dictionary, you would find the denotation of the word. It's a precise, literal definition. In order to demonstrate a little bit about the differences between denotation and connotation and how word choice can affect culture, I'm going to talk a little bit about some car names. These are names of cars from the 60s and names of cars from the 70s. Now, for comparison, let's think a little bit about these eras in the United States. The 1960s was a time of political trends across the globe, social revolution, especially in the United States. And a lot of times we sort of think about this era as a time of irresponsibility, a little bit of excess, flamboyance. It's the time of the hippies, the time of fun and adventure. In contrast, the 1970s was a time of social and civic responsibility. It was a time where economics became even more important. It was important for you to be responsible to your family. Social progressive values that began in the 60s, such as increasing political awareness and women's rights, continued, but also the environmentalist movement began to increase really dramatically in the 1970s. So we're just kind of looking at some of these names here, Thunderbird and Falcon, in contrast to something like rabbit and colt. So what I'm going to do is go now to dictionary.com. Here we are now on dictionary.com, and we're going to be looking at some definitions of some of the cars of the 1960s and 1970s eras. And you can see the first one that I've typed in here is Thunderbird. A Thunderbird is a mythological bird, a huge eagle-like bird capable of producing thunder, lightning, and rain. So when you look at the denotation of this word, it's going to invoke some feelings and some of the emotions or the when you think about the association, the imaginative association surrounding a word, and I'm thinking about a huge bird that can produce thunder, I think about power and strength, adventure, maybe even just a tinge of fear as well. And so you can see this is a pretty powerful word. In contrast, if we look at, for example, the word Pinto, this is a car from the 1970s, and you get a horse marked with spots, a sort of modeled horse. And when I think of a Pinto horse, I think of a very gentle horse. In contrast, another car of the 1960s would be the Charger. Now, the Charger, we're just going to look at this definition here of Pinto, but then let's look at the definition of the word Charger. And you can see this is a kind of horse suitable to be ridden into battle, and so much more powerful than the Pinto. Now, Pinto also had a denotation. I don't know if you saw it there. It was a bean, a type of bean, which is definitely not an intimidating word. One of my favorites that I think really represents the shift from the 1960s to 1970s as far as the word choice is the Civic. Civic, introduced in the 70s. and the Honda Civic, which we still have the Civic today. Maybe some of you drive a Civic. You can see other relating to city, citizen, citizenship, and when you think about the focus on civic duty as well, that came more after 1974, that makes a lot of sense to name a car a Civic. Okay, so just to kind of drive this comparison home, I'd like to look at a couple of commercials. We're going to look at a commercial for the Civic and also a commercial for the Thunderbird from those eras. Okay, so we're not going to watch this whole video, but I'm going to play part of it for you. And while it's playing, I want you to really think about the denotation of the word Thunderbird, this huge eagle-like bird that can produce great winds and rain and thunder, but also think about the kind of connotation that's associated with it, these emotional feelings, this sort of context that surrounds the word. And then also think about what kind of context the marketing team that made this video is trying to invoke.
A Thunderbird is adventure. A Thunderbird says action. Even with the brakes on. A Thunderbird is a promise. There shall be light wherever it goes. Everyone has his someday car. For most of us, this is it. The style of it. The power of it. This is the car for the connoisseur. Night flight of a Thunderbird. Powered by a big 350 horsepower Thunderbird Special V8.
Okay, let's have a look now at this 1978 Honda Civic TV commercial, which is going to invoke some very different kinds of connotations affiliated with the denotation of the word civic, which is also in this case the name of the car.
This shopping bag was designed to hold fruit, vegetables, milk, bread, all kinds of groceries. This Honda Civic hatchback was designed to hold a shopping bag. In fact, it was designed to hold 4 shopping bags. And if we went to all that trouble to make a shopping bag comfortable, imagine how much trouble we went to make you comfortable.